So that's some of that. I'm going to talk to you about one aspect of the Into the Wild that we did for today, that came out of the readings that we did for today. And I'm going to focus in on this and give just a little bit of peripheral cultural history. And this might be a paper topic, the temporary autonomous zone within Into the Wild. This cat is an elder of the counterculture, a very controversial writer with many controversial ideas. And in 1991, he wrote this book called The Temporary Autonomous Zone. And what you're going to notice about Into the Wild is this tension between the individual and society, and also this idealism. I think it's not going to come as a surprise to any of y'all that Chris McCandless is a bit of an idealist. He has very high ethical and moral codes he tries to live by, and he believes that everyone else should live by his ethical and moral codes. And the problem that you get with people like this is sometimes they can be a bit overbearing. They're like your high priests, your gurus, your preachers, dare I say, some of your professors. People who hold these high ideals can sometimes be a bit intense, I guess would be the word that we would use for Alex. And there's this tension about whether this idealism is a private idealism, really, whether Alex's utopia is being by himself in Alaska, okay, at least that's what he thought, or is Alex's utopia being with his fellow seekers, okay? He is a seeker, S-E-E-K-E-R, somebody who's on a pilgrimage trying to find truth and meaning, the meaning of life, okay? And is it something to be found in small groups? Is it utopia? Utopia meaning the good place, or meaning the no place, a better place, a new world. A new world will be born in the shelf of the old is the idea of the utopians. Okay? And we've had utopians in America since the beginning. As a matter of fact, some people will argue that America itself was founded because of utopianism, that people were dissatisfied with their mother society in Europe, and they came here and created their utopia, which is actually America. I would argue that Alex is a utopian. Okay, I'm not sure if he's an individualist or more of a communal utopian, but I'm going to tell you about some communal utopians in America that this book reminded me of. So the temporary autonomous zone was this idea that you could go off today in the middle of what the hippies would call Babylon. They'd say we live in the bad world, that American mainstream society is totally corrupt and cannot be reformed. It's a lost cause. It's corrupt. Its values are all messed up. There's too much consumerism. There's too much war. There's too much greed and selfishness, and that we need to really chuck the whole thing and start over from scratch, okay? And so these people would go, for example, and start a commune like they did in Summertown, Tennessee, called The Farm back in the early 1970s, or they might go out to California in search of a better way of life, or in Alex's case, we're going to see, is Alaska utopia? I don't know that he found out that it was. It might turn out to be not so good after all, right? So what this guy Bey argues is that you can go and create these temporary utopias or temporary autonomous zones. And there's two that we learn about in the reading that was assigned for today. And the first one is the slabs. And I'll turn to page 43, if you will, in your text, and we'll see how Krakauer describes this existence. The slabs is an old Navy air base that has been abandoned and razed. This is in the middle of page 43. Okay? An old Navy. So first of all, a counterculture utopia, you don't have it, downtown Nashville on Music Row, or on 2nd Avenue, or Riverside Park or Centennial Park. You don't go to downtown Nashville to make utopia. You go somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. So this is a quality that a lot of the TAZs that I'm going to tell you about, the real ones I'm going to tell you about, have. So you go in the middle of nowhere, an abandoned base. And here is a grid of empty concrete foundations scattered far and wide across the desert. The slabs. So just basically a plateau of cement in the middle of nowhere. Come November, as the weather turns cold across the rest of the country. Some 5,000. Okay? We're about 10,000 people or so here at Tennessee Tech. If you add the students and the faculty and staff together, we're probably about 12 or 13,000 people. We're a small society. Tennessee Tech might be my utopia for life today, for real life today. A little society here within Cookeville. So 5,000 snowbirds. What's a snowbird? Snowbirds might also be, I thought ski bum when I thought snowbird, or people that, you know, are, yeah, I don't know, what is a snowbird? That's a good one for the vocabulary if somebody wants to put that on our glossary. Drifter. What's a drifter? I think drifters are like the hobos and the tramps that I talked to you guys about last week. Sundry vagabonds. Okay, vagabonds and drifters are probably, and hobos and tramps are probably fairly synonymous. They congregate in this otherworldly setting to live on the cheap under the sun. Otherworldly. Who's been to the desert? Really hung out in the desert? Anybody been to the salt flats in Utah? Otherworldly. You're still on Earth, but you feel like you're on another planet, man. It's really far out, okay? In this otherworldly setting to live on the cheap under the sun. No rent, no hotel, no campground fees. The Slabs function as the seasonal capital of a teeming itinerant society. Itinerant, mobile, people without jobs often. A tolerant meaning accepting of all different types of people. Rubber-tired culture comprising the retired, the exiled, the destitute, the perpetually unemployed. Its constituents are men and women and children of all ages. Folks on the dodge from collection agencies, relationships gone sour, the law or the IRS, Ohio winters, and the middle-class grind. So these are refugees of society, have formed their own alternate society in the Slabs. When we watch the film version of Into the Wild, you're going to actually see a pretty vivid depiction of the Slabs. Okay, it's a pretty cool scene. It's pretty out there, far out.